the refund committee officials. The application forms were also duly filled and signed. Further, the duly filled and signed vetting committee minutes and application forms were submitted to the Office of the Auditor General for review. So Appendix 3A, duly signed vetting committee minutes. That's in the big, on the big pile. Appendix 3B, duly filled application forms. That's the smaller one. Appendix 3C, list of beneficiaries, which is also on the big part of the big file. Appendix 3D, sample of acknowledgement of receipt by schools, which is on the smaller one. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Auditor, your comments on the...
Chair, we were able to confirm disbursement and acknowledgement of receipts by schools to the tune of 83 million. That is around 83% of the queried amount.
Okay, Governor, do you have a further comment on that?
Chair, that is what we were able to put together from the records that we found, and everything that we were able to put together, was availed to the auditors. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so
To ask the auditors, just a clarity. In your remark response, you've stated that you've been able to only ascertain about 83 million out of the 99 million. Do you confirm to this committee that you're talking about 16 million, which you've not been able to verify as far as the provided documents are concerned?
Yes, Chair.
Chair.
Chair, if I would continue.
I just want to do a rejoinder.
Okay.
And the rejoinder I wanted to do, perhaps, Senator, the committee, the auditors, and I'm very keen on words, the committee was denied. The committee was denied the chance to verify. Which committee was denied by who? Can you pronounce yourself to that matter? In addition, the committee was denied the chance to verify all information provided for by the applicant as required by Section 18 of the Homa Bay County. Because, you know, the words that you use, then they would want witnesses to that kind of for this query. Then, which committee was denied and denied by who?
are you referring to the Ward Bursary Committee, or which committee are you referring
yourselves?
to?
Or yourselves? Is it the Audit Committee? Is it the Ward Bursary Fund Committee? Who was denied and by who?
I think it is section 18, which requires the bursary committee. That should be the Ward Bursary Committee to confirm to verify the applicants. Unless maybe, Chair, if I can go back to the specific act.
Because the committee is the one that manages the process. So how can it deny itself? You know, that's what the members are asking. Your query.
Yeah, and I think maybe in our case, we did not see evidence that the committee probably verified the application process. That is why we mentioned that the committee was...
That's why I've asked you a very specific question.
Yeah.
Did you talk to the members of the committee and then they pronounced themselves to the fact that they were denied access? And if they were denied by who?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think for the during the audit process, we never had a chance to interview the committee members. However, we reviewed the documents, the minutes, and whatever the minutes and the minutes that support the vetting process. So if we're not able to see the minutes, then we came to the conclusion that they were never given a chance to verify the application process or to vet the application process.
I don't want to be
Mutinda, you give me a minute.
Okay.
Let's.
Auditor, okay, if then from the response that came from the county that they did not appropriate any funds for this particular financial year, but the vetting and verification up in the previous year. So what do you say about that?
Auditor.
Yeah, I think for every application is the committee is supposed to vet the application. I mean, to go through the applications and vet the process, and provide maybe keep the minutes of that process, and probably that is what we were not able to verify.
But did you listen to what I said? What did I say?
Yeah, maybe it'll come again.
I come back again. I said the response from the county, they said since they didn't appropriate any money for this particular financial year, but the money was brought forward from 2020, 2021, and all the processes, the vetting and the filling of the forms had been done. So and they basically dispersed because the calendar year for academic year crosses the financial years. So and then I was saying, what do you say about that response from the county?
Yeah, and from the financial statements, the money that disbursed during 2021-2022 was a carryover of 2019-2021. So we agree with that. There was a rollover of the funds that were unspent during the prior year, and they were disbursed now in the year 2021-2022. And the concern was just on the evidence of the vetting. I know
we are taking Senator Tabitha's time. Auditor, that cannot happen in any public governance and financial management. There is nothing like carryover when a fund has a closure at the end of the financial year. This is what I was telling you in the previous. In fact, the previous query should have come together with this query. When there is any fund that was not utilized in any kind of account in the county, it must be reappropriated. You can't just carry over.
Even the next query is the same.
And the next query is the same. That's why you see I'm putting a lot of task on you.
Yeah.
Because I know that there must have been financial challenges that happened with that particular administration. And you auditors can guide me. Whether there's something like carrying over of any money in any fund, in any even now we are working on giving MCAs independent in the county assembly service fund.
Yeah.
Should there be any money that is remaining in that account will have to go back to CRF and reappropriated. That is the financial standard and practices that we know.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think in this case, for the funds, they adopted the accrual accounting concept, where what is not used is accrued, is recognized to the accrued to the next financial year. So the accounting concept was a bit different from the cash basis that is used by the main executive.
Yeah. Chair.
Senator.
Okay, thank you.
I think we'll get to the governor for subsequent practice. But go ahead, Senator.
Thank you, Senators. Thank you so much. Mine first, before I proceed, Madam Governor. Two things quickly. The CC Finance, Mr. Martin, for how long has he been in your office? Is it when you came in? I would want to understand, or was he also in the previous government? And the other person is the CC Finance. Is he here? Is he with you? And who is he?
Thank you, Chair. The CC for Education came in my administration, which means that this happened, preceded his coming. The CC Finance is here with us. I'll ask him to introduce himself.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Senator. I'm Solomon Obiero, CC Member for Finance Economic Planning.
How long have you been there?
I joined with the administration of the Governor.
2022.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now, Madam Governor, through the Chair, I note two things. One, the auditor has been able to state that 16 million is not yet accounted for out of the 99 million that was brought forward. That is one. Secondly, through the chair, the amount of 99 million is indicated as balance that was brought forward. 99 million. Actually, in the governor's response, you state that disbursement of the amount amounting to 99 million, 0.8 was brought forward from the previous year, 2020-2021. Then I note also through the chair, keenly, that there was an amount that was not spent out of the budgetary amount that was allocated, that is 109 million, 106 million was not spent. But apparently, what was brought forward is 99 million, an indication that also the amount brought forward is less from what was not spent.
Where are you picking those figures?
Thank you, Chair. In the same document, page 4, on the amount that, on the budgetary and control and performance.
Which one are you referring to?
This small booklet, this small one, page 4. The question we are tackling is page 5 on the unsupported disbursement of bursaries as far as the amounts are concerned. Because the question is the 99 million, whereby your first question is that 16 million is not justified. There are no documentations, because the auditor says they were able to verify 83 million. 99 million less 83, we have 16 million, which is not verified. But further to that, I also note that this 99, the governor says, was the money that was brought forward. But in the same submission of the documents, the previous page says 106 million was not appropriated. So then, what should have been brought forward again is 106 million. Again, a less 7 million not brought forward. A less 16 million not authenticated. 16 plus 7, we are talking about 23 million, as far as this financial year is concerned, that is still not verified. Auditors, are we on the same page with you?
I think you are confusing us. I'm lost because you are combining two queries at the same time.
And the reason I'm combining, Chair, is because we have a common figure. We have a 99. And the first question, we are all agreeing that there is less 16, which is not, does not have the documents. Are we on the same page with you, Chair? And then I note the reason I'm picking it is because it says it was a balance brought forward. We cannot assume the amount of balance that was brought forward, because it should be 106. If we would combine that, then we'll be able to get and finalize on these two questions.
Yeah, I would like you to hold on to your question.
Okay.
Until we come to that query of budget control and performance. We are coming to it, because if we get mixed up, we will find ourselves not doing much justice to ourselves.
Okay, no problem.
Just
then we can get my first question on the less, very thing that one is very clear. And also, in your submissions for the document, Madam Governor, we see that 2A, in the minutes, that the committee had agreed, on the last part, the committee had agreed on a flat rate of 5,000 per applicant. On document 3C, we are seeing different figures, that is 6,000, there's 4,000, there's 5,000. What made some students get 4,000 while others were getting 6,000, while others were getting the 5,000 as the committee had agreed in the minutes that you've provided, and others were getting different particular amounts? Maybe I can stick to those two questions. The other one will bring it up on the next phase.
I think this query is pretty simple. And I think that the response given by the governor is what, and as the auditor want to go by it, is what we need to give just further guidance. And that further guidance is a very simple one. Whether you're using accrual or cash basis of accounting. And in fact, I haven't seen a county since we started looking at these counties, but I think there's one county that I saw using what we call modified cash basis, which is an hybrid of the two. Regardless of whichever you are using, the principle of appropriation must be adhered to. That's the biggest issue here. And I hope that this was the biggest issue of the previous administration, and the current governor will be able to solve for this. The issue of appropriation, whereby if you are using purely an accrual methods of payments here, then the only way this comes as a carried forward amount is if it is committed. That is, it is already money that has been committed that is going to pay for X, Y, Z. Then you can carry it forward. But if it is just a lump sum that is remaining in that particular account, then you must subject it to PFM Act. I think it is section 136. And I'm going to read it for the benefit of the governor, so that governor, perhaps your team can be able to look into this going forward in terms of that appropriation. 136 says, appropriation of money for county government purposes to lapse if unspent. Now, what does it say? Subject to any other legislation, which we don't have currently. And county legislation cannot be superior to this PFM in terms of appropriation. So it has to be a national law. An appropriation that has not been spent at the end of the financial year for which it was appropriated lapses immediately at the end of the financial year. Subsection 2 says, if at the end of financial year, this is where the accrual idea comes from, a county government entity is holding appropriated amount that was withdrawn from the county exchequer account, which is the CRF, but has not been spent, it shall repay the unspent money to the exchequer account and prepare a refund statement which shall be forwarded to the controller of budget. So there's just an issue of gross appropriation and reappropriation problems with regards to this fund, which I hope, because that you cannot solve for it now, it is already passed. But going forward, it is something that the county must be very vigilant on. Whether you're using either of the two, whether it's cash or accrual, or even a modified cash basis, it has to go through an appropriation process. That's when you can be able to deal with this issue. And I think it's an issue that I think the chair, if it behooves you, then you can just proceed, but have the county be cautious that next time, when these things are being carried forward, they're done appropriately. Where it has been committed is indicated in the appropriation process. Where it has not been committed, it is reappropriated in the CRF.
Okay, I think your point is noted on the matter of carrying forward.
Yes.
The substantive part of this query was that the auditor has acknowledged that he managed to verify 83 million. So now we have a balance of 16 million. What the auditor did not tell us is that what form of verification was missing. Was it a documentary issue, or what was it? Is it that you missed to have some documents, or what do you mean that you are not able to verify 16 million? That is the clarity you need to make to the committee.
Thank you, Chair. We were able to confirm disbursements of 83 million to the learning institutions, and the acknowledgement by those schools that they received the money in respect of the accounts of those students.
So
that is now from the vetting minutes of the committee, there was approval of the 99, but now the acknowledgement from the schools that they received the monies in respect to those, that the approved amount was 83 million.
So what you are lacking is acknowledgement for the 16 million.
Yes.
Because I've looked at the submission by the counties, the list of beneficiaries is very comprehensive. It even includes admission numbers, it includes the name of the student, the school, the form, very detailed. So what you are missing is acknowledgement from the schools. So did you manage to extract the list of those schools that did not acknowledge?
Yeah, the list is there, Chair. We were only expecting now management to really liaise, maybe with the schools and less, to really provide additional evidence because they have the list, Chair. Because the 16 million, I know it didn't go to the air. It must have gone somewhere.
Yeah. So maybe, Governor, you can say something on this, what you are doing about it.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable members, I would like to thank the Senator for Migori for, I think, the point on reappropriation. I think it is well noted. It is what we have, subsequently, we reappropriate every money that is left in the CRF or in our funds at the end of the financial year. So that is very well noted. Senator Mutindo, on the question that we have raised about the lack of acknowledgement for the balance between 83 million and 99, we gave everything we were able to find in terms of what we found from the schools. What we don't have is, now we have the list of schools. Perhaps now it's for us to write to the schools to be able to obtain this confirmation from them that they actually received money from the students, because we found the minutes for the verification. We have attached them here for every of the 40 wards and the list of students that they verified. So the 16 million will now commit, Chairman, to write to the schools, the specific schools, and require acknowledgement from them for having received that amount. The thing that happens with the parents is they're very eager before they receive the money, the bursary. Once they receive the bursary, you ask them to bring back the receipts. It is very, very challenging. They don't come back because we tell them, every parent bring to the office of the ward admin the receipt for the check. But you find that many parents don't do that, and so we are looking for different mechanisms for obtaining these receipts directly from the schools. But for this particular year, Chairman, I want to commit that we are immediately going to write to all the schools, because we have the list, to seek confirmation from them that the 16 million actually went to their schools, and we will be able to put that together for the auditors. Thank you, Chairman.
So how much time do you need to do all that and come back to the committee?
So, Chairman, we will make the documentation available as soon as schools open. And now we are uncertain about the date of opening of schools. But as soon as the schools reopen, we will be able to, maybe within 2 to 3 weeks of that period, obtain the documentation. We will make personal follow-ups to the schools. A lot of the schools are within Homa Bay, so we will be able to do that through our education officers in the wards and in the sub-counties. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. So, Auditor Mark?
Yes, Chair. Mine was just to bring to the attention of the committee the provisions of Section 62 of the Public Audit Act in relation to provision of documents at the time of audit, because these documents are now being delivered, but why were they not provided at that time of audit? Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I think the clerk has noted that for interim recommendation. So I think for all that, Governor, we require that you submit all the documents to the auditor within 30 days, and then the auditor verify and submit to us another 14 days after that.
Through the Chair,
Yeah.
the one response is not yet given in regards to what the minutes said, whereby students should just get a flat rate of 5,000. But in the submitted documents, we have different figures ranging from 3,000 to 10,000. Yet the minutes, as provided, indicated 5,000 per every student. Would there be any feedbacks as far as this issue is concerned through the
Governor, your response?
Thank you, Chair. I think I also did note that there was an agreement and then a variation. I presumed that perhaps once they sat, maybe the students became more, and they decided that they needed to, at least everybody to get it. But this, I am not saying for certain, because I don't know for sure why they varied it, but I'm just saying presumptively, after they had sat and agreed perhaps the number of applicants became more, or perhaps they said, they needed to give colleges more and they did not make that adjustment to their minutes. What we have done right now, Senator, through the chairman, is we have put a standard amount of 5,000 per student, and that is checked not just by the committee, that is also checked by the education department. So no check is produced that is more than the 5,000 shillings as is agreed. So the controls are more and the controls are tighter, so that you can't say this and then do the other. Sometimes I can tell you that MCAs sometimes come and tell me, Governor, let us give students 3,000 banners. Students in my wards are very many. Just allow me to do my ward as I know it, The MCAs can say that. Let me just operate in my ward as I understand it. But if you don't put your foot down, 10,000. But now we have, put those controls in place. Thank you, Chairman.
Strictly adhere to the query, so that we maximize on the time we have. We have 2 more funds to go. Senator Amida?
Chair, I realize Governor is going through the same challenges that the other governors have gone through. But then I must even commend her that she has even tried to organize very well. And remember, the other governors will come and say, it wasn't me. So these are the same, challenges. And I keep on saying, why do they have to carry other former governors' burden? But then I also realized that in the document, the auditor's report, where they said that the Homa Bay County bursary, which states that the applicant being a new education bursary fund, the forms were not duly signed. But then in her response, the applications, and I've checked on the annexes, that the applications were actually duly signed, and also the vetting committee minutes are also there. So I think most of it was responded to.
Okay. Senator Ujenda, put yourself on record.
Thank you, Chair. Senator Professor Tom Ujenda, Senior Counsel, Vice Chair of the committee, and member of the party, ODM.
Okay. That is very important. So we were waiting for you to give us a legal opinion on this issue of counties developing regulation pursuant to PFM. We have the same scenario here with the Homa Bay. You want to say something or proceed?
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to give clarity that we have not developed any regulations pursuant to PFM. Having been finance chair, I know a few things, and we also have a very good attorney here. So we have not done any regulations pursuant to PFM. What was indicated, what I said earlier was that every finance we handle in line with PFM. We don't develop regulations pursuant, but we handle in line with PFM. So
car and mortgage.
Yeah.
Is made pursuant to PFM.
Or the car and mortgage regulations.
Yes.
Thank you. I think that was much earlier. Thank you.
So just for clarity, the senior counsel can make a comment on that.
Chair, when I see Orego was my supervisee, so whenever I see him, I know he has the right training. I believe, or rather, the true position is that there are counties who've made regulations without a parent act, and we always advise that you have your own parent act, even if it mirrors the substantive national legislation, before you have regulations thereunder. I'm sure Orego will remedy that. I think that's it is a confusion that people hang on to laws that are not theirs, or laws not county laws, which is completely irregular and wrong. So, but you've been chair of finance, and you also take over from a very competent governor and a client of mine and a friend. So I know that Homa Bay is the right hands.
Chair, just on the same through senior counsel, I think you should regulation the word may because now this may is giving them some space. It should be shall, because then that guides the governors, most of them, so that even when another second governor is coming the next term, these problems are actually minimized because they are all evading from the English word of may, because it's not mandatory.
Chair, I think the reason is because of the transition, and counties can still operate under the national guidelines, or they still operate under PFM anyway if they have there's a gap. That's why may, if they proceed, they choose and they have to, then the transitional period, I believe it's now past the transition period. It was to enable counties exit or transcend or transition, do their laws, to take time. But yes. If they have an act, you see, once an act is done and is substantive and provides for every situation, then you may find that you don't need regulations. But where I think that's you have not done law, one. Just keep quiet. So it's okay, yeah.
Okay. Honorable member, order. Let's put on bursary, budget control and performance. Auditor.
Chair, is about budgetary control and performance. The statement of comparative budget and actuals amount reflect final receipts, budget and actual on comparable basis totaling to 51,500,000 and nil respectively, resulting to underfunding of 51,500,000 or 100% of the budget. Similarly, the fund spent 214,906 against approved budget of 51, resulting to over expenditure of 48 or 95% of the budget. The over expenditure and delayed disbursement of the budgeted amounts affected the planned activities and impact negatively on service delivery to the citizens of Homa Bay County. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Governor, your management response.
Chair, honorable members, the manager is to state that in the financial year under review, 2021-2022, the County Treasury did not transfer bursary fund to the Department of Education as was budgeted. Therefore, the department disbursed the balance brought forward from the previous year to the beneficiaries amounting to 99,873,743 as indicated in the statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts. Thus, there was no over expenditure in the financial year under review 2021-2022.
Auditor, your comments on the management response?
Financial year, Chair, which is maybe the committee can give direction.
Yeah.
So I think recommendation that we give on the issue of budget control and performance. So that one, we should not spend so much time on it. We will give a recommendation on that. Unless, Mark, if you have a comment on this. You don't have any comment? Okay. So, member, the last
Chair.
query.
Chair, no, on my concern of the balance brought forward now, it comes well and fits again here. 99 is what again is said to be brought forward, but in this same records, it's 106 million. Are you not noting that? I brought this question on where we're coming from just now, but you requested we move forward to bring it here on the budgetary, which is fine on how you're putting it on the first. But my concern is on the balance brought forward of 99, which has been highly repeated that the balance brought forward was 99 million for the previous financial year 2020 and 21. In the same booklet record, Chair, you know I like reading, and page 4 talks about the 106 million that was not spent. So 106 is what was supposed to be brought forward and not 99 million. If you are keen, then let's be on this same page on the less amount of the balance brought forward, Chair.
Chief Officer Finance, maybe to say something on it.
Chief Officer, through the governor.
Thank you, Chair. 106 million was the budget for the previous year, which was if we were carrying forward the following year, we carried forward what we were able to disburse the following year. There was no obligation to carry forward the full amount. We were only able to carry forward what we were able to disburse the following year, which is 99 out of what was not disbursed the previous year of 106. Thank you, and back to you, Chair.
So 106 is what was budgeted for. Is not the money that was carried forward.
Chair, you had said that you are to give recommendation of overdrawn account, Chair. I don't know whether we...
I was sitting next to a financial analyst here called Eddie Okech, who insisted that we have to have an overview on this. I'm sorry I didn't communicate that to the committee, but for his sake, I would ask that we go through it.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Proceed.
On the issue of overdrawn bank account, the statement of financial position reflects cash and cash equivalent negative balance of 55,103, and as disclosed to Note 4 to the financial statement, review of the cash and bank records revealed that the fund bank account was overdrawn as a result of bank charges totaling to 69,500 in respect of bounced checks due to insufficient funds. This was contrary to the provision of Regulation 82 sub 7 of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulation 2015, which states that no official county government bank accounts shall be overdrawn. In the circumstance, management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response, you can respond. Maybe you just summarize the content of the table. You don't have to go through every detail.
The management wishes to state that the checks bounced due to the reasons as listed on the table. Mainly, the payee name was irregular, resulting to charges of 69,500. Currently, the fund management has done extensive sensitization of the beneficiaries on appropriate handling of bursary checks to avoid recurrence. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Auditor, your comment on the response?
It is true, Chair. We saw the bouncing checks, and you see, it is a question of breaching the law. Maybe stated because if the name is really having a challenge, I don't know. Maybe the committee can give the way forward so that it doesn't occur in the near future.
Maybe the committee will just direct that the law has to be complied in future. Regulation 82.7 of the PFM. Unless if you have something extra.
I just want to establish from the auditors that there is closure with regards to any further charges. That is, all those checks have been regularized. That's what I wanted to establish.
Because we were really concerned about why they really bounced, Chair, and it was breaching the law.
Yes.
We really wanted to check whether the mitigating factors have been taken in the current year.
Yes.
Which we didn't see, but now in this financial year, which we under review, there was a bounce checks which you cannot reverse because the bank took the money because of illegality.
Yeah. So that's the concern there. Is regularization. Okay. So to the extent that is fully regularized, then the recommendation that the chair says is okay. But if it's not fully regularized, you will have even one that keeps on accruing other unnoticed charges. Then it becomes an endemic query that keeps on coming. So just be sure that on these particular ones, they were regularized, and going forward, that regulation was also done. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, just a quick one, Chair, and I want to note that I've also noted that the governor has a really new, fresh, competent. Some of these issues are actually incompetence issues, and I want to applaud governor on that because that's why I was keen to ask these members that you have, this executive, when did you come with them to office? And they've come freshly with you, and we've seen how you've been performing. So I think with this issue, the previous then government was not keen to ensure that the competency is on the highest level. So you can proceed, Chair.
Even the last ones were competent.
No.
Chair,
Chair, I wanted to find out, the governor was a chair in the last parliament for finance, and during a regime now, you are not going to write these checks to for each individual student. I hope you're going to do maybe a different way, maybe using RTGS, to send money to the schools, because then there'll be no mistakes of wrong names. Yeah, was senior counsel's friend writing checks to the students instead of the schools?
Senator Kizang, you must be living in another world, because these things they are done politically. You have to hand over the check to a parent. So anyway, but your point is noted.
And the schools themselves don't have the system.
So Governor.
Chair, you read my mind. Kisang and I come from far, Senator. So, Chair, I want to state that for the 2 years that we've now provided bursaries of even higher amounts, we've not had a single bounce check. So, Chairman, that has been very, very much taken care of, and we hope not to have any.
So, honorable members, let's make progress. We now go to this particular fund. The main issue here was the control and performance, and also verification for the 16 million bursary that was issued out, which we have given direction. So we now proceed to alcoholic. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to say that we had presented to you the new law, the copy that we managed to print, and the rest of the copies will come. Thank you.
So the law is tabled. Honorable members, you circulate. You can have a look at it. So let's go to alcoholic. Statement for alcoholic financial statement. Can someone serve us a cup of tea? Reason you can explain to the committee and proceed to give the summary for this fund.
Chair, thank you, Chair. The report before the committee is Homa Bay County Alcoholic Drinks Control Fund for the year 2022, which had a qualified opinion, and the observation are 3. However, Chair, in the last Senate attendance for county government of Homa Bay, county executive, they really told the previous committee that accounts were never prepared since the inception of the fund until they came to the office to really prepare accounts for the base year of 2022. Maybe the management will shed light to this committee, because I remember in the other committee they had really even insisted that the investigative agencies conduct EACC to really take up the matter on that, Chair.
So maybe at this point, Governor, you can give a brief overview about this fund and what he has raised the directive of the PAC committee on the same. And then you tell us what is the status on that.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable members. I would like to state, as correctly stated by the auditor, that the previous year's accounts had not been prepared and presented for auditing. When we did, prepare 21, 22, and have subsequently prepared the statements, the Senate committee directed the agencies last year when we appeared, and we left that with the agencies to take care of that as we embarked on restructuring and ensuring that the liquor fund was properly administered. Chair, if you look at, I don't know whether this is the point I can make reference to the response, or this is still an overview.
This is still an overview. But
so, Chairman, is just to say that, yes, that was left to the agencies, but we embarked on thorough restructuring of how we manage the fund. And when we get to the responses, you will see the results that we have attained with that restructuring. Thank you, Chair.
very well. So, Auditor, you can proceed to give an overview and go to each query.
Yeah, just as I stated, Chair, it has three observations. That is fine, penalties, and other levies. Yes, Chair, this is what they have done is the mitigating factor, because they were during that time it was challenging. So currently they have really put controls in place. So maybe the committee should really put more strength on this to ensure that at least they continue putting more controls in terms of mapping the revenue. Then observation number 2 is they provided the documents of the committee allowance of 487,500.
So before you go there, what is now the status of the fines, penalties, and levies?
Currently, Chair, is that they have really done mapping. They have really now automated the revenue collection, except the 2 centers. I think it is either in Peter South or something like that. Otherwise, they have automated. They have also ensured that most of the revenue now goes to CRF. And in 2023, there was a very high increase in terms of revenue collection based on the report that we have really done and issued by Auditor General, Chair.
So the query, is it addressed or partially addressed?
It is in this particular year, it is partially addressed because now they have done the mitigating factor going in 2023. But in this year, it was a challenge.
Okay. Proceed.
Observation number 2, Chair, they provided the supporting documents of 487,500. So we really reviewed and we were satisfied, Chair. Observation number in the lawfulness is, Chair, it was not resolved because there was lack of approved budget in that financial year, Chair.
So this is not addressed?
Yeah, because the law was really breached. This is circumstance management was in breach of the law in terms of lack of approved budget.
No, I'm saying basis of conclusion has 2 queries.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is their status?
Oh, there is sorry, Chair. Is the anomalies in the procurement. This one was a challenge, Chair, because most of the anomalies they were using cash, which is not really in, it's not really allowed in law unless it is just below the threshold.
So address?
No, it was not addressed because there were failures. Although observation number 1, they really provided the pre-qualified list of suppliers, but failure to maintain critical procurement documents, it was a challenge here.
Okay, the last one.
The last one is about ineffective audit committee. Audit review records reveal that audit committee did not deliberate upon an adapted report finalized by internal audit, but currently they are really in place.
The committee is in place, functioning.
The committee is in the process, Chair, to really make sure it is they constitute the correct committee to really deliberate on audit issues.
Okay, so honorable members, as noted, there was only one fund. So the first query, fines, penalties, and other levies, partially addressed. So we will have an opportunity to look at it as our query number 1. Unsupported committee allowance, auditor indicates it's addressed. So we'll adopt the written response. Lack of an approved budget, not addressed. We will look at this as query number 2. And we also have anomalies in the procurement, and stores management system. We look at that as query number 3. Then lastly, ineffective audit committee. This one we are going to give an interim recommendation, the standard one. So auditor, please take us through query number 1.
About fines, penalties, and other levies. The statement of financial performance reflects Kenya shilling 1,606,000 in respect of fines, penalties, and other levies, and as disclosed in Note 1 to the financial statement. However, the audit review of the records in respect of legal licensing fee and other levies collected revealed the following anomalies. Roman 1, management had not mapped all the business operating within the county and failed to maintain a register of all registered legal businesses. Roman 2, failure by revenue collectors to acknowledge in the counterfoil receipt book register the receipt books issued to them for the purpose of collecting legal license fee. In addition, it was noted that the revenue collectors were reissued with receipt books before properly accounting for the previous issued or filled up copies. Roman 3, failure to maintain collection control sheets with serial numbers of receipt books for the license provided. Roman 4, lack of official receipts issued in respect of cash collection for legal licensing from the outlets in support of the amount collected. And Roman 5, lack of reconciliations between total revenue collected and revenue banked. In addition, banking by the collectors were not verifiable, and there was rampant cases of spending revenue at source before banking. In the circumstance, the accuracy, validity, and completeness of revenue balance of Kenya shillings 1,606,000 could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Very well, Governor, the management response.
Thank you, Chair, Honourable Member. The management concurs with your findings and wishes to respond that currently the mapping of the business premises operating within Homa Bay County is ongoing, and the register of all liquor businesses will be maintained in the automated system. The management also wishes to state that the county has procured an automated revenue collection and management system which incorporates management of liquor fees and has resolved most of the issues raised herein, that is receipting, register, to assist in confirming accuracy of reconciliation between revenue collected and revenue banked. As a result, the county has realized improved collection of liquor fees. In 2019-20, that was 2.4 million. In 2020-21, 955,000. In 2021-22, 1.6. In 2022-23, 3.4 million. In the first 3 quarters of 2023-24, 8.9 million. Further, the revenues collected from the liquor licensing are disbursed to the county revenue fund account for utilization through approved budgets. And we have appendices there of list of all registered liquor businesses. Appointment letter, Appendix 2 is appointment letter for ad hoc committee to undertake the mapping. Number 3 is award letter for contract for automated revenue management and collection system. Number 4 is a sample of the e-receipt and e-invoice. Number 5 is the bank statements confirming current disbursement of funds collected to CRF. Thank you, Chair.
Auditor, your comments?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, we have been able to confirm the list of mapped business premises. We have also been able to confirm that the county has automated the revenue management system, and the system is able to do electronic invoicing and receipting. So we have confirmed that some of the receipts and invoices are generated from the system. And we have also confirmed the trend in terms of the growth in terms of the collections. And the figure of 2022-2023 was confirmed during the audit. However, the figure for 2013-14, we will be able to do that during the subsequent, the 2023-2024 financial year audit, which is at the planning stage. And then we have also confirmed that management has instructed the fund to be mapping all the collections to the CRF before before requisitions are made for any expenditure on the same. Thank you.
So, Auditor, you had previously indicated that this is partially done. So, what is not done?
That is automation of other revenue centers, because you see, as I indicated earlier, not all of them have been automated. But in terms of control measure, they are put in place, Chair, we confirm.
Okay, Senator Idi Okech.
Chair, thank you. This response, I believe, were developed with the aid of the. Is it who is managing the finances for this particular fund? Who is the fund manager? Through the governor, of course.
Thank you. I'd like to ask CC for Trade, who oversees the fund.
Thank you, Chair. The fund is managed by the Liquor Committee.
Now, I want the administrator, the one person who is
the chief officer.
The chief officer, right?
Yes.
Chief officer, are you a CPA by any chance?
No.
Do you have any CPA who was helping you do this response? Who is the accountant? Provide him with a. Do you have any accountant who was helping you do this response to the governor?
Yes.
Who is the accountant?
She's outside. Yes, she's coming.
She's outside.
Yes.
Because I want to ask the accountant the question together with the auditor.
Okay.
Very simple question. You know, the government is working very hard, and I don't like this kind of financial embarrassments. But maybe starting with the auditor. I really want that finance person here, because they will understand. You see, Governor, this mirrors almost a profit and loss accounts when you think about it. And therefore, the question of cash flow comes here very, very important when you look at the audit issues. And because the accountant is not here, perhaps just to I'll ask the administrator.
She's coming.
She's coming. Okay. Yes, the chief officer of finance is also here. That's very good. So the chief officer of finance and the accountant is here, and you auditor. Just help this committee understand. Because I'm looking at the responses here. How are the opening balances confirmed in the absence of the previously audited financial accounts?
Chair, they didn't have actually, because they used as a base year, and they only had, I think there was bank balances in the bank account. Otherwise, it was a challenge because they say the base year.
I don't want the issue of bank account. You know what I'm asking?
Yes, I know, Chair.
I am talking about the cash flow statement. And I'm talking about the opening balances for which these statements were then made that then gave us this. How did you go about it without the previously audited financial statements?
Governor, proceed.
Governor, please.
Thank you. I'll respond to this because as I was going through the responses, I'm the one who requested that we indicate, because if we were coming to indicate to the Senate that the interventions we have made have worked, I asked that we look at the bank account and see how much money did we raise within all those years up to this year. So this was my request to the team, so that we are able to demonstrate that the interventions that we have made have actually made improvements. These were not figures that had been looked at by the auditor. No, okay. This is in my response to demonstrate that the interventions that we have made have actually resulted in better results in terms of our collections, because money was being collected into the liquor account anyway, but the books were not being prepared for audit. Thank you, Chair.
Senator Agenda.
Yeah, I thought we should be thanking and praising the governor for, tripling or whatever, doing whatever, 4 times collections in just on the 3rd quarter. She's blown, the ceiling. Senator Okech, order.
No, it's not about order, and the governor probably understand what I'm asking better than you. These are financial matters. I will engage the governor more, but you see, auditor, I wanted you to make a comment about what the governor is making, because she's trying to regularize a misnomer that going forward must be done in a better way, right? You might be forced to go back and regularize this, because you have got account balances that definitely are confirmed with the account balances, but not with the cash flow that were not recorded.
Thank you, Chair. I think in the issue of the cash and the cash flow, if you look at the financial statements, there were no comparative balances. However, there was an opening balance of cash and cash of 40,883 shillings, which we picked from the bank statement. So that was like the best.
So you also picked it from the bank statement the government gave?
Yes.
Okay, not based on any previously audited accounts?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to note.
Chair.
Mutinda?
Yeah. Let me just start first by appreciating the governor, because I like it when governors accept that, yes, there was a problem, because sometimes you have instances whereby there's so much of defense mechanism and then we are not able to move forward. That is positive, but it doesn't mean that the previous regime is off the hook. And that is something through the chair will be able to find a way forward. But now, since your response is much more on the current, and you seem to be using the Act 2015. Two things I note. First, you do not still have regulations, but still you say the word may. But we've advised that these regulations are very good as far as administration is concerned, because then these employees that you've given an opportunity to be in office are much more liable as far as those regulations are concerned, because they are there. But now in Section 4 of the Act that you're currently using, 2015, says that the formation of the committee, which you've stated that you have a committee. I think you said that. Thank you, Madam Governor. And it stipulates the committee members. The committee shall consist of the following as far as the Act is concerned. And I'm happy you have the CEC for trade here, because the section says that the first member shall be the Chief Officer, Department of Trade, who shall be the chairperson. In your submissions, Madam Governor, on appendix, the second one, mine is rubbed off a bit, but the second one, in terms of the formation of this committee, we have a Daniel Ogenga, who's now the chair and is the head of the Governor Service Delivery Unit. We have other members there, about 6 members. So I'm just concerned because then they're not as per the regulations, because the chair of this committee should be the Chief Officer Trade, who should be the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Senator Mutinda, for that question. The Liquor Committee is constituted and in place, but for us to achieve results in this area, I did take it upon me to set up an ad hoc committee to help with the geo-mapping of liquor outlets and potential SBP premises in Homa Bay. And this was my initiative to ensure that we actually did have a geo-mapped as an RRI outside of the committee, whose roles are stipulated in the Act. So this was an ad hoc committee that just helped us with mapping and geo-mapping and referencing of the premises. And that is how we managed actually to already have moved as fast as we moved with the mapping of the premises. You know government bureaucracies, and sometimes you have to push it a little bit.
That's very clear, Madam Governor. That's okay, because I understand the importance of sometimes an ad hoc committee. Now, could you also provide this committee with the current committee of liquor, the one that is in place? Could we just have a copy?
Thank you. I'd like to ask the team to quickly provide the list of the liquor committee as soon as we can.
And Governor, I'm just curious, is there anybody who used to previously run this fund in the previous administration that is in your team now?
Within the government of Homa Bay?
Yes.
I think there could be some. I have to check.
But they're not in this team?
No.
Yeah, because I think that is the savior for this fund. Because what you've done in terms of being able to fast track that update and actually is in sync with the auditors, I think there's some previous officers that you should actually really keep. you should actually take actions on them. Just in the name of proper record keeping. I mean, this team, so long as the harmony that I was asking for from the auditor is with yours that were based on the bank account balances, is good to that extent. But to the extent that those reports were not done properly by the previous teams, I think it's something that as the CEO of the county, I know you're doing a lot of things, and in maybe your extra time, you can be able to look at and just look at a potential of some kind of loss of funds, because where there are no previously audited account in terms of opening balances, and there are no proper records that, and we're only depending on the accounts that you've rightfully regularized, that previous one must also be regularized. So it's something just to think about as the governor, if you want to go into it. But I just don't want it that one day it comes maybe, because I think you're going to be a second-term governor. You're doing very, very good work, and I know you're going to be elected. But I don't want you that in your second term, somebody comes back to this audit query, looking back into that previously audited financial as a function of the audited balances.
What we are avoiding to tell the governor is that non-submission of financial statement is an offence in the law, and the auditors know this. If you don't submit financial statements, then you are liable under the Public Audit Act. So it is good that you have done something. There is still a grey area on the issue of opening balances, because opening balances ideally should emanate from audited reports. So that is still a grey area. But you have made an attempt to at least have financial statements submitted for audit. But prior years, I think it's an issue, it's the elephant in the house, which we must address. How do we deal with this issue of financial statements that were not provided to the auditors for audit for those years? I think that's it's a problem. But as the auditor said, the matter is before EACC. So we don't have EACC representative here. He didn't come today.
Kinoti came, but I think he left and he was to come.
He should be here.
So this is an issue. I don't want to take words from your mouth, but this is an issue that should not on, and that's why I called the finance person and the chief officer, because the governor has done her work very well, and it is in sync with what the auditor has said. But we don't want a situation whereby this thing comes and haunts the governor after. We need to clear it for once and for all, Chair.
I agree with you, but we need to get feedback on what, because the park committee, chaired by the senator for the same county, the one that gave the directive. So we need to get the feedback from EACC, and so that we can know the way forward. But for now, we can say that the county has made progress on this matter. At least there are financial statements, they have been audited, but the prior years, we need to know which people are involved.
Yes.
So that is why I'm leaving it to the feedback from EACC. But in our recommendation today, we have to cite Public Audit Act in terms of non-submission of financial statement is an offence to those public officers or people involved, the accountants involved. If we knew the accountants who are involved, we would direct that we write to the professional body, that is ISPAC, to deal with that matter, because that is an unprofessional conduct. Not providing financial statement is not just an offense, it's a professional misconduct. Those accountants involved. So I think I will direct that we hold on that matter. We get feedback from EACC, and then we will know how to act. Senator Mutinda, unless it is on this matter.
Correct.
please, because we want to manage time.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I also have a very tight schedule. I'm just curious if the governor would allow the lady who's now the accountant, who was actually called in, who stepped in very quickly, to tell this committee for how long she has been an accountant in that department for liquor. Just quickly. If Sergeant Atams could give the mic. Thank you, Madam Governor.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elsa Odeng. I've been an accountant in that department for 2 years.
That's okay. And do you have ISPAC number?
Yes.
Provide to the Sergeant at Arms, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so honorable members,
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to say that the good progress that has also been made is in the wisdom of the Senate to create this committee, because now the funds are looked at separately, and therefore we are able to deal with them on a case by case. So I just wanted to commend the Senate and you honourable members for the wisdom of creating this committee to look at the funds, because they would never really make it to the top of the list with just one public accounts and investment committee. Thank you, Chair.
very well. So next query.
Thus, the management acknowledges the anomaly in budgeting for the alcoholic drinks control fund as a revenue stream under the executive budget estimates. However, expenditure in the year under review was guided by approved work plans. The management has since complied with the audit findings and prepares a separate budget approved by the Homa Bay County Alcoholic Drinks Control Board based on their plan for all revenues and expenditures in relation to the fund. Appendices is the work plans for 21-22, Appendix 9, budget and work plan for 22-23, Appendix 10, copy of budget approval minutes. Thank you, Chair.
Auditor, comments on the response?
Yeah, but Chair, it is upon committee to really give deliberation, because now if the budget was a challenge, then they can give direction.
So I think that's Chair, I think that's a pretty much sounds like it appropriately. Unless, Chair, you want to whip using Article 125 and then summon the previous governor, which I don't think will be necessary. I think going forward, the governor has acknowledged that this is something that every single decision on budgetary issues for any fund, not really only this one, must go through a proper county assembly, approval process. So I think that's pretty much, and the relevant committee also can be able to work with. I think it's just a learning curve. These are one of those learning curve queries where the governor has learned, and the current governor is doing the right thing. So this, I think we should not belabor because of time.
Basically this
Chair, as much as we should not belabor, but I know I've looked at the budget as per the annexes, and I've noted especially the sitting allowances, the expenditure itself. But in the act, through the governor, I cannot see the percentage for the expenditure administration. It's not stipulated in the act that they are using currently.
Administrative expenses.
Yes. Oh, yes.
County attorney, through the governor.
Thank you very much, Chair, honourable members. I think one of the things that is not provided for in this legislation, we have looked at this act for quite some time, and there are a number of areas that we have noted. One of them is that it does not comply with the PFM, especially on fund administration costs, to be capped at 3%. Honourable members, that is one of the proposals we are making to make amendment to this legislation, so that we are all very clear that there will be no expenses going beyond 3% of the amount that is appropriated for the fund. That was lacking at the time that this legislation was done in 2015. Honourable Chair.
Just quickly on the same, Honourable Chair, I appreciate your answer, County Attorney, and looking at the expenditure total, and if this one, the finance, if the governor would allow the finance CC to respond, the total expenditure budgeted is 5 million. This is 2022-2023 financial year. And then in the submissions that you have given, page 1, on what we are looking at, the collection was 3 million, 3.4. So through the finance, I mean, how do you budget for 5 million and what you have is 3.4? As much as the county attorney agrees with the fact that there is a challenge, and he did not respond that maybe you're working on the amendments of this act. If you would also clarify so that we move forward from that, as the CC explains how this budget, you put a budget of 5 million and what you have is 3.4.
Respond to that, and I think at that point we'll end there.
So thank you very much, Chair. Chair, we are working on an amendment to make this legislation to comply with that provision. So we are proposing an amendment to the County Assembly, Chair. I can promise that within 60 days we can be able to make a presentation through to the committee. 60 days, we can make an amendment.
Okay, very well. So.
Thank you, Chair. In the particular financial year, Chair, honorable members, we'd targeted to collect 30 million. However, the mapping exercise has taken longer than we envisaged, and hence we've realized the 3.4 million. But we had a budget of 5,050,000.
So the question is,
yeah,
must you budget with monies you already have in the bank? I think that is the question. Or can you budget with the expectation?
We budget based on estimates, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Okay, so members, let's proceed to the last query. Anomalies in procurement and
anomalies in procurement and stores management system. Audit review of procurement process revealed that the full list of suppliers and providers of various categories of goods and services, or minutes of the procurement proceedings through which the supplier was shortlisted. Roman 2, failure to maintain critical procurement documents like tenders, quotation, opening registers minutes, evaluation minutes, reports that indicating due diligence during award and adjustment stage, including that but not limited to assessing companies' beneficial ownership, financial capacity, and past experience, certificate of professional opinion by the head of procurement, and executed contract documents. Roman 3, goods procured and delivered were not taken on charge in the store's ledger for control issuance to the user department. And Roman 5, use of cash in the form of temporary interest to procure goods and services. In the circumstance, there was lack of internal controls and equity in the procurement of goods and services. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Governor, your management response.
Thank you, Chair, honorable members. Management wishes to state that there exists a pre-qualified list of suppliers that is used by the entire county government, including the Alcoholic Drinks Control Fund. Additionally, management has implemented an e-procurement process through IFPIS system where tenders are sourced, evaluated, and awarded. Further, a stores management system has been set up where goods delivered are inspected and accepted, entered into store ledger cards, and stock controlled through issuance to various units. In addition, management has put a stop to use of imprest to procure goods through a circular issued by the CCM Finance. Appendices 11, sample pre-qualification list for County Government of Homa Bay. Appendix 12, sample quotation, register evaluation, minutes, counter receipt and issue vouchers, and store ledger cards. Appendix 13, CCM Finance Circular on cash purchases. Thank you, Chair.
We were able to confirm a sample of procurements of stationery items from the county pre-qualified list of suppliers up to the procurement minutes, the quotation forms, up to the stores where they were received and issued to the users. and together with the LPOs. And then we confirmed that the CCM Finance issued a circular to stop further usage of interest for cash purchases. So that is now as a mitigating measure. So, but during the year that we were reviewing, there was usage of interest for cash purchases.
So, in short, you are saying?
We are saying that it is okay. It's partially resolved because partially addressed because they're able to they put in measures to stop usage of interest to purchase items, and they've also used and developed and implemented the e-procurement to automate the procurement processes through IFNIS.
I'm struggling to understand what is this that is lacking. You are confirming everything has been done, but you are saying it's partially done. What is this lacking?
Yeah, we were able to confirm from the pre-qualification list that is the category of stationaries. We didn't do for all of them, for all the other categories of items, but we were able to confirm for the stationary category. Yeah.
Was that due to time?
That is what was provided. Not so. Yeah, maybe they need to expand the other items from the various classifications of procurement items.
Okay. Query that is about just putting systems and processes in place for this kind of procurement management. And I think the governor is doing all she can. Perhaps it's just I don't know through the governor how much time she might need to provide the auditors with the with the rest of that. This is a procedural audit query that I think can be dealt with within maybe 30 days. The auditors and the governor can be able to be in touch, and then the auditor can look into it. It's just systems that were lacking that the government, what I'm getting here, Governor, is that these systems were lacking when you got into office, and you're doing everything that you can to make sure that those systems are there. And to the extent that the governor has put some in place is commendable. And to the extent that all of it can be achieved within a timeline that is best known to the governor, she can advise, and then we can have the auditor look into that and then regularize over the next few, maybe months. I think 1 or 2 months. I don't think it's a major query.
So this query and the next query, which is on audit committee, have a standard recommendation we give on matters of internal controls. So which we will give at the end of this meeting. How to strengthen internal controls on procurement, financial management, stores management, IT, all that will come as a standard recommendation. But Mark, you can say something about that?
Yeah, my chair was just to highlight on that item on cash purchases. I think it just demonstrates to this committee the level of ineptitude that this fund was being run with. So if someone is used to do purchases in cash, that I think is a highly irregular and a high risk activity, Chair. Just to highlight that.
Yeah. Maybe Chair, I could comment. Thank you, Chair. Honourable members, I'd just like to state that in terms of the pre-qualified list of suppliers, we have all of them. I don't think we need any time on that because all of them we have for everything, even just in what we have provided, you have for printers, laptops, photocopiers, machines, or everything is available. On the issue of cash purchases, you see, moving the money to CRF has been a very major step because there's no money available to be spent in cash there. Because previously you could just go to the liquor and say, I can go and buy something. But you see now, every money you collect into the liquor account goes to CRF, every cent. And the statements for CRF are provided. Then you can only now purchase through your budget and a proper requisition. So there's no money left hanging there. Even the governor can't say, oh, bring me some money there. It's not possible. All the money goes to CRF and you requisition properly. So that we have also tied. So we are trying to tie up every loose end. Maybe we are not where we need to be, but we'll get there. Maybe by the time we come back before the committee in subsequent years it will be seen the results of some of the measures we have put in place. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Senator Agenda.
Governor, it is my understanding that you have a new fund manager and that you have perhaps new staff that are running the place more efficiently, and that is why we see the change that we are seeing in terms of the collection. Or that there's some level of discipline. As you say now, you can't ask for money. Of course, a governor would want to ask for money, but at least you have that control that is there.
Thank you. Through the chair, thank you, Senator Ojenda. We reconstituted the entire committee. We had changes in the chief officers and everybody, so we reconstituted the entire team. So we hope that the team will be able to provide results. We also understand that new team alone is not good enough. Systems is what sustains our team. So it's just, I want to agree with the committee and chairman when you make your recommendations on, what else we need to do to strengthen the systems. I think it is something we will take with open arms and just keep learning and keep strengthening. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, I'm saying this. I always believe that a new governor should come into office and sack everyone and start afresh. Well, he doesn't agree with me, but that's my style, that get good people who deliver. If you have a bad person, let them go home, let them file a case, and we do the case when he's home.
Kisumu people may hear you and be very...
and the governor, don't take that advice. It's a very rudimentary advice. The good people from Abeyi are all allowed to work in the county. If you get good people who can work, give them the opportunity. Those bad ones, remove them. Because, for instance, you're putting a very formidable team. And I've assessed the way the documents are done, the response, the processes, particularly even before systems have been put in Homa Bay in the last 2 years. It's amazing. So if Ojenda's theory is anything to go with, in 10 years, after you finish your 10 years time, because you're going to, in 10 years, when you leave and this competent team is still there, is Ojenda arguing that when his brother or sister gets into Homa Bay County, then they should sack all this wonderful team. That's not the thing. The thing is, competency is your own assessment, and which you've done very well so far. So kudos to it.
Okay, thank you, members. We need to make progress. We have a very important fund that we need to do justice to it, called the car loan and mortgage. And now we are at 5 minutes past 1. So
General, whenever they are doing the auditing, they should not just refer to the PFM, they should as well refer to the sections of the County Act. Because you see, if the Homa Bay County Alcoholic Drinks is in place. So it's good sometimes to also look at it so that we are able to see whether it complies or it touches on what is supposed to be, so that the committee can sometimes advise the amendment or advise to be relooking into the issue. And finally, Chair, as I was going through the Act itself, I think the county need to check on the functions of the fund, because the functions of the fund is well put at Section 4 of the Act, that is the Homa Bay Alcoholic Drinks Control. And when you read the whole of it, it's just a matter of running the committees, administration. It does not mention anything to do with rehabilitation, formation of rehabs, or something close to that. It mentions rehab in a different section that is out of its mandate, out of its function. So I think we need to look at it to be part of the function of the fund. And also, I don't think a county law can legislate for a national function. You know, when you have a committee and say that the police officers will be part of that committee, I don't think we can legislate as a county for a function of the national government. That is something that we need the county attorney to also advise. So, Chair, I wanted to mention that. Yeah, I wanted to mention that, Chair.
You know, your advice is always taken seriously because you have been an MCA, a CEC, and now a senator. So, I think governor has noted that.
You can say, and then after that,
and then aspiring governor. Okay, so let's look at and proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I was requested to table here the list of committee members for the liquor fund, and I hereby table it, Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, members, the mortgage and car loan fund, it is the one in red. So, auditor, please take us through the queries in the usual manner.
It was an adverse opinion, and start with the basis for adverse. The first was unconfirmed deductions, which has not been resolved, not addressed, and supported borrowings, which has not been addressed, and standing loan balances, which has not been fully addressed.
Just move with the same speed as members and go through each query for the year ended June 2020. I think the first query was unremitted deduction.
Yes.
What is the position?
Not addressed.
Not addressed.
Unsupported borrowings, not addressed. Outstanding loan balances, not addressed. Unsupported reserve fund, addressed. And in
slow, please. Unsupported reserve fund, addressed.
Addressed, yes, in the subsequent financial to that. And then inaccuracy of revolving fund balance brought forward is also addressed. Those are counting,
not
addressed.
Unsecured car loan and mortgage.
Oh, sorry. That one is not yet addressed. Yeah.
Okay, next year. Unsupported and remitted repayments.
Yeah, Chair, that is a recurring issue with the previous year. Number 1 and 2 are recurring and they have not been addressed. That is unsupported and remitted repayments and unsupported receivables from exchange transactions. Unsupported reserve fund is addressed. Budgetary control and performance. It is the fund is still experiencing financial situations is not addressed. And resolved prior audit matters is not addressed. Still outstanding audit issues. Overpayment of fund admin expenses. That one is not addressed.
Yes. 2022.
2022, it was a qualified opinion. The first and second, that is an unsupported current portion of long-term receivables from exchange transactions balance and unsupported receivables from exchange transactions balances not addressed. Unsupported long-term receivable from exchange transactions balance not addressed. Unsupported reserve fund addressed.
The unsupported receivables.
Unsupported long-term receivable from exchange transactions balance has not been addressed. Not addressed.
Unsupported long-term receivables.
Yes, not addressed.
What's the difference between 2 and 3? I think they look the same.
Number 2 is non-exchange.
Oh, non-exchange. Okay.
So number
unsupported long-term receivables?
Not addressed.
Unsupported refund, reserve
It's a fund that hasn't been addressed.
budget control and performance.
Yeah, this one is the fund is still having challenges with budget, so it's not addressed. Unresolved priority matters, the still outstanding matters not addressed, so it's unresolved, not addressed.
Failure to register changes.
Not addressed. Failure to ensure mortgaged properties and motor vehicles on loan, not addressed. Unbalanced fund budget, not addressed.
So this one is quite a number of issues not addressed. CEC finance through the governor. You know, the PFM requires that you should deal with such issues and advise your executive on a regular basis. So when you appear before this committee and most of the issues are not addressed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Chair, we've made quite an attempt to address most of these issues, Chair, and in terms of our management responses, the only option that we have is legal redress in quite a number of them.
So, honorable members, you need to guide me. How do we move on this? We have quite a number of queries here. Quite a number of them are not addressed. Including the outstanding loan balances of over 76 million shillings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at the queries, they are all recurring across all the years, and they are. So my proposal, Chair, is can we look at the base year 2021-22, and they are close to about 8 queries, and out of the 8 queries, maybe we could just pick a few, not all, because if you look at query number 4, budgetary control and performance, in the other funds, these are similar things that we had addressed in the other funds, Honorable Chair. You know, there are things that would look the same across the other 2 funds. Those ones we could skip, and we look for those that are unique to this particular fund, Chair, so that we don't have to repeat what we had discussed earlier. This is page 1. Is it page 1, Chair?
Yeah, that's page 1.
Yes, it is recurring for.
It is recurring because the 2020 they borrowed 24 million. Then the subsequent year they also borrowed around 10.
So for 2022, what is the query?
For 2022, in 2022 there was no borrowing. It's only 2020. If you check, Chair, in 2020. Number 2.
2021.
Number 2020. This 2020.
2020. 2020. Because I'm doing borrowings. 2021 was observation number 2 and supported receivable from exchange transaction, which include also borrowing in 2022. Sorry, Chair. In 2022, there is observation number 2, which is also borrowing.
Unsupported receivables from exchange transaction.
Non-exchange transaction.
So that is query number 2.
Yes.
What about outstanding loan balances? Is it recurring in the other years?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, Chair. It is recurring, and in 2022, it is query number 3, which is unsupported long-term receivables from exchange transaction of 52 million.
So we mark that as query number 3. Okay. You said unsupported reserve fund is the inaccuracies of the holding fund brought forward is addressed. Unsecured car loans and mortgage, is it recurring again?
Yeah, it is the same number 3 in the long term. No, unsecured. Unsecured is also in 2022 under lawfulness. That is query number 1. Number 1 in the report on lawfulness. The report on lawfulness.
I think it's query number 7 in 2022. Failure to register.
Failure to register charges.
Yes, unsecured.
Okay, so that will be noted as.
Was number 1, so they're just loans which are not recovered from people and exited. Loans unrecovered from people and exited service.
Those who had exited service.
Yes.
Unsupported long-term receivables from exchange transaction, query number 3, that is for the year 2022. Failure to register charges on mortgaged property and joint register logbooks on car loan to members, query number 4. Failure to insure mortgaged property and motor vehicles on loan, query number 5. Yeah, those are the queries we are going to look at. So, honorable members, in debating these queries, and because we don't have luxury of time, please let our comments be strictly on the audit query. Let us not meander around over issues, we go into regulation, go into what. Let's just restrict ourselves to the query. I hope Senator Mutinda, when she comes, that message should be clear, so that we have less than an hour to go. So, Auditor, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The report before committee.
Page 5. Honorable members is on page 5.
Honorable Chair, it is on the report of County Executive Car Loan and Mortgage Members Fund for 2021. Observation number 1, which is query number 1, Chair, is unsupported and remitted repayments. The statement of financial position reflects receivable from non-exchange transactions balance of Kenya shillings 38,330,015 as disclosed in note 6 to the financial statement. The receivable include unremitted repayment from county treasury of Kenya shillings 3,830,015. However, management did not provide document to support the transaction, including the schedule indicating particular period of this repayment and the beneficiaries from whom the amount was receivable. Further, the balance includes an amount of 34,500,000 relating to borrowing by county treasury. However, management did not provide document to support the transaction, including confirmation of balances by the beneficiaries, terms of loan, interest receivable, and when the receivable was due. In the circumstance, the accuracy and completeness of receivable from an exchange transaction balance of 38,330,015 could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Well, Governor, the management response.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable members, the management has availed the payroll by products indicating the names, particulars, amounts deducted, balances outstanding, and payroll month for audit review. In addition, the management acknowledges the borrowings and has provided approval minutes by the fund administration to support these transactions. However, the approvals for the borrowing, as provided by the minutes of the fund management, did not spell out timelines for refund, nor interest payable. Going forward, the current administration has built the fund through an additional funding of 94 million, which has ensured the fund remains operational and able to issue loans to qualifying county officers. Further, the fund management has been outsourced to a professional fund manager, a financial institution that manages the scheme, which has addressed the gaps that existed when the fund was internally managed. Appendix 5A, payroll by products for unremitted deductions. Appendix 5B, borrowing minutes of the 10,500,000. Appendix 5C, bank statement extract showing borrowing of the 10.5 million. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Auditor, your comments on the management response?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We were able to confirm the payroll by products for the unremitted deductions and the borrowing minutes from the fund committee, but there was no confirmation of the refund of the monies to the fund.
Governor, comments on that?
Thank you, Chair. We are unable to provide see any evidence that the money was actually refunded.
So, Auditor, how much, what is the figure that we are talking about here?
We are talking of 3.8 million, 3,830,000, 15 Kenya shillings in respect of unremitted repayments and borrowings of 34,500,000. So the total is coming up to 38,330,000 and 15 Kenya shillings.
What does Appendix 5A say? Auditor?
5 is okay. 5 is there, no problem. Because the balance is not showing anything. Because 5A,
use the mic.
The borrowing is I know.
Okay. So 5C is where we have a problem. Auditor. The amount is not reflected on in the bank.
I think for during the audit of 2021, we were able to confirm the borrowing of 10 million from the cash flow statement.
Okay, members, any comment on this? Members, I hope you are not...
Auditor, are you establishing that there is loss of money?
Yeah, in reviewing the expenditure, when they really borrowed, yes, because they really actually borrowed to use it internally. But now they were not supposed to borrow in the first place. And two, when they recovered from employees, they're supposed to remit the money, which is 3.8, which they didn't do, Chair, which they broke the law.
Not 3.8. Is it 3.8 or 38 million?
Yeah, it's the whole of it.
Yes, the whole of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But now they were supposed to return back the money.
And it wasn't returned.
It wasn't returned.
That is what we are confirming. Yeah. And Governor, is that also your view as well?
Chair, what I can say is that the money was borrowed for internal use from the fund account for internal use by the executive. So what we have done, which could be considered like a rebuilding of the fund, which is that the executive has continued to put in money up to 94 million now into the fund to rebuild it. So if you look at it wholesomely, then it means that the 10.5 million plus more money has actually been put by the executive into the fund account.
I get that, Governor. The borrowing of 10.5 was in the financial year 2021-2022. 2021.
Yes.
Right? Well, and that one is confirmed. Has that one been paid?
You know, as the way, Chair, through the Chair, that the management is, they decided to rebuild account afresh, not considering that they are refunding.
Okay.
So I think that is, I don't know, it is like, because in 2023, the one we audited, Chair, I think they refunded, 40-something million, which we audited. And I know this year they have added. So they're saying they're building this account. But I don't know now whether they call it that one refund, because to us, they were supposed to marry the two.
Governor, do you consider the rebuilding catering for the 38 million that was borrowed?
Chair, since the money was spent by the executive,
yes,
out of the fund, isn't it?
Yes.
So any money we put into the fund is actually a repayment of any money that would ever have been taken out of the fund. It's a rebuilding. What we have done, without looking at the borrowing, is to rebuild the fund, because in any case, our new members still have to access the money.
Think of it this way, Governor. Perhaps auditors, were there resolutions at the time of borrowing specific to the 38 million that you've got access to? Because those resolutions would then help the subsequent executive, like the new governor, to specify the terms of that borrowing as it indicated. Was it a borrowing that was supposed to be a perpetual liability? Or was it something that was supposed to end at a certain period, the payment was supposed to happen at a certain period, so that when you have got those resolutions, they would help guide the governor in terms of the placement of any subsequent funds with regards to when that, plowing back, if you may, because the governor is trying to plow back and note that as a repayment. Did you interact with those resolutions, if any?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think from the management response, they've said that the approvals did not spell out the timeline. So probably it is the management can be able to give because on our side we are not able to see the approval and the terms, and they've also indicated
but functionally, auditor, with a lot of respect to you, functionally that would be the biggest thing you would want to hold, right? Yes. The resolutions that define that borrowing, so that you can be able to get the terms, the timelines that the refund was supposed to happen, so that the rebuilding, if it's a perpetual borrowing, then there's no problem, because then any money that the governor then places becomes a plowback, basically. Because these are basically an exchange transaction. So the plowing back will just become okay. But if there was specific timelines to it, Governor, did you have access to any previously documented resolution to that borrowing that happened for the 38 million? Did you manage to get hold of any of those?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Senator. All that we have is the minutes that stipulated that the executive was planning to borrow from the fund. So the minutes do not state any timelines within which the money is supposed to be reimbursed. So the only thing we have in our possession is the minutes that said they could borrow. But they didn't say we will return at this time. They just said we will return when we get an allocation, and that could be any time. So the minutes were a bit loose on that, and Chairman, Honorable Senator.
So maybe, Auditor, you can explain, because what is indicated in record to have been borrowed through minutes is 10.5. And your query is talking of 34.5. So what happens to the balance of 24 million?
Chair, if you look in 2020 report,
yes,
I think it is in this query in 2020, the first borrowing was 24 million.
So the borrowing in year 2020,
and because it is using accrual accounting, Chair,
yes,
they carried for the balances. Because in that financial year it lapsed, they didn't refund. The subsequent year they borrowed another 10.
Chair, I never mean to cut our auditors, because they are our partners.
yeah.
You see, the reason why this committee exists is so that we can make our governance. In fact, you guys are more partners to the governors, especially the new governors who have come, than any other person. And auditor, I don't like when you recline to the idea of either accrual or cash basis on this kind of subjects, because you can guide the governors very well, right? Your partners with the governors. Borrowing of any money from any county entity is very well established. And the tool, the instrument for which you do your audit, so that the governor is very clear by the time the governor comes here, because the governor is doing a job and she's doing it very well, in the sense that there are minutes that have been put in place. Those minutes don't stipulate the timeline that is required to pay that money back. And then what she'll do is what we call replenishing. She'll just replenish based on the fact that that void was left there. But it is you, the auditors, who, and I never want this to happen between us, because I really, really care about our auditors and our partners. But it is you at the audit process to be able to help the governor pick to the idea that when borrowing is happening, there is very specific law that guides that borrowing. Because if you go to PFM Act, I think it's section 142, on borrowing by county government entities, it says the county assembly may authorize short-term borrowing by the county government entities for cash management purposes, which is cash government purposes only, which is what the governor said, to deal with internal matters. Then it says any borrowing under such section may not exceed 5% of the most recent audited revenues of the entity. That's something that you must catch at the time of borrowing. Then it further says a county government entity that has any such borrowing shall ensure that the money borrowed is repaid within a year from the date on which it was borrowed. So the amount that can be borrowed is very well specified by law, which is, was this 38 million even within that requirement of the law? You must be able to pick that and guide the governor. And then the timelines in terms of resolutions must be well articulated in that minuted conversation that the governor is talking to. Where they've been left aloof, then you must hold the previous officers responsible. Because otherwise, the governor will only depend on what she has or any other governor has in terms of actually replenishing or plowing back the fund, which is not actually a payment back to the fund. It's a replenishing to the fund. In other cases, there could be even other elaborate terms. Are we borrowing with some interest on top? All those must be subject to this law. So I think that was a misnomer, Chair, that the governor has gone ahead and arrested, and she's replenishing the fund. But going forward, that borrowing must happen within the structure of the law, as is required. I think that's the only condition you can be able to make, because the governor has done a job.
Well noted, Chair. Yeah. It is well noted.
With Senator for Migori and say that now that, if it is defined and the timelines and so on, then of course we fall more toward the replenishing side than the repayment side. But really, Chairman, we have no intention of making any borrowings, because now this fund has been given to a financial institution that runs it, so that any government that ever comes, it does not have to deal with, whether the money was borrowed or not. It just revolves within the financial institution, because those are the people, I think, who are better qualified to handle these mortgages and so on than the county governments, so that we focus just on service delivery. So thank you, Chairman.
A very big step. Look at it in our subsequent audit circles, because all this borrowing must be accounted for. So we will have a close check on this query in 2022-2023 financial year. Let's go to the next query, which I had marked as query number 2. That is unsupported receivable from non-exchange transaction balance. That is for the year June 2022. It's on page 10 of your responses. Auditor?
Chair, it is almost the same information.
It's the same thing?
Yes.
Let's go to next.
Okay, so we go to the next one. Unsupported long-term receivable from exchange transaction.
Chair of 2022 is a query observation number 1, unsupported current portion of the long-term receivable from exchange transaction balances. The statement of financial position and note 5A to the financial statement reflect
B. We're on page 11. It is note 5B.
We're on page 11, Auditor.
No, you're just right. It's just that you've said not 5A instead of 5B.
Sorry, Chair. Thank you, Chair. May I repeat, Chair?
Yes.
unsupported current portion of long-term receivable from exchange transaction balances. The statement of financial position and note 5A to the financial B.
It is note B.
I'm sorry, Chair. Sorry for interrupting. This observation number 3. Unsupported long-term receivable from exchange transaction balance. The statement of financial position and note 5B to the financial statement reflect long-term receivable from exchange transaction balance of 52 million, 4,155. However, the balance was not supported by appropriate schedules and ledgers. In the circumstance, the accuracy and completement of outstanding long-term loans balance of Kenya shilling 52 million, 304,155 could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Very well.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable members, management wishes to state that the long-term receivables balance of 52,304,155 was derived from the loan repayment schedules and ledgers appropriately. The management has since provided these schedules and ledgers for audit review. So we provided the loan amortization schedules in Appendix 9A and the summary schedule of 52,304,155 as Appendix 9B. Thank you, Chair.
Auditor, your comments?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We were able to confirm the amortization schedules and the summary. However, the amount has not been recovered to date, so it's still outstanding.
This dates back to 2017. Auditor.
Relative balances from the inception of the fund.
So, Governor, looking at the summary of the schedules, gratitude of these people, and others is ongoing. Ongoing means they are still in employment, or what does that mean?
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to ask our county attorney to make a response on the comprehensive strategy we are employing.
County attorney.
Thank you very much, Chair and honorable members. Chair, we have reviewed these outstanding balances, and we have had discussions with some of these people who are in default, because some of them are our employees, some of them are probably still our employees. And if you look at our response, you'll see that they are in two categories. There is a first category that appears on page number 2. You'll see there's a list there of up to 13 members. And the amount outstanding from them is 27.1 million. Again, Chair, if you look again at another list that we have also provided at page 9 of our report, there's also a list of 10 people, and the amount outstanding from them is 9.4 million. Chair, there are a number of questions that have been asked, especially as to how these facilities were secured by the county government at the time that they were issued with the facilities. The expectation was that if somebody was taking a mortgage, they will be able to give a title deed and a charge registered in favor of the county government. Or if it was a loan for purchase of a car, it would be registered jointly in the name of the county government. Chair, we've reviewed all that documentation. Truth is that that did not happen at the time. So that what we've been left with is a debt. And in our considered view, the only thing that we've got left is to pursue recovery proceedings against these people. Yes, so Chair, what we've put in place, we've already issued letters of demand And in the last review of appropriations in the supplementary, we've made a provision now to file cases against all those individuals so that we can initiate recovery proceedings. Chair, we believe that appears to be the only option that we have got because we have got no security that we are holding, having no registered charges. We have got no security that we are holding, having had no joint registration between the county government and the person who took the facility. So we believe that the long-term solution to this is to initiate recovery proceedings, which we intend to do almost immediately, Honorable Chair. Maybe, I believe, unless I say perhaps maybe wants to add, that is a long-term strategy that we have in terms of recovery of these long outstanding liabilities, Honorable Chairman.
So, Governor, how much time do you need from this committee to recover this money?
Chairman, I couldn't say to recover it, but to discharge our responsibility as a county government. We were just waiting for the supplementary budget because the cost of filing the cases for each and every of those individuals was worked out to be nearly 2.185 million. So we had to appropriate it in the supplementary budget and then proceed to file cases against each and every person in default. Now, Chairman, once we do that, we now land in the hands of the judiciary, which now we totally lose control of the timelines. So we can say that before closing this financial year, we will institute the recovery proceedings. But what the judiciary does post that is not a commitment, Chair, that I'm in a position to give. And that is what will result in us actually getting back the money. But we also hope that once we institute the proceedings, people might volunteer and just come and say, I'd like to return this and return that, and we can then recover as much as we can. Chairman, it is a very strong decision to take, but we have to take it because we cannot have this query hanging over our heads for the remainder of the time.
Senator Ugenda, I see you have business here.
It's now refocused.
I don't have instructions in this matter. But clearly I think the county has a duty to recover. I see names here that can repay. Someone like Fares Ratego, they can pay because Consolata Yamba, I know all these people. And I think that the suits, I'm sure, will lead to a negotiation and a structured recovery. My question, Governor, is whether what you put in place to ensure that you recover loans way in advance of a CC member or a person serving in the county being sacked, because you could also drop the CCs. So what you talked about taking this to a bank to run for you. How do we ensure that we don't fall into this problem later, so that you don't come back and then someone will be cleaning up after you that it was not done well? I think that's
point of order, Chair. Chair, is that parliamentary language that member of the community can understand? What is this problem that agenda is talking about? I think he spoke some legal jargon we don't
Speak in
understand.
English or Swahili so that we can understand.
Chairman, the problem of the past governor, His Excellency Awiti, I think because the framework should have ensured that we have something that is akin to what we do in Parliament, that when you take a loan, a mortgage, you repay before your time expires, before the expiration of your term, so that we don't run into these, very painful situations.
And the governor was here for 10 years, and I believe the 2 terms she took a mortgage in each of the terms. And Parliamentary Service Commission actually gives you like 3 or 4 months before expiry of our term that you should have completed. So I hope Fred Orego there is going to put in proper regulations, because the regulations that you have here are also invalid because it's based on the national law. I think this way. Chair, I just like wearing the blue hat and refocusing us. I think that on this query number 3 is exhaustively well responded to, because this query, if I refocus the committee, is the balance was not supported by appropriate schedules and ledgers. That was the concern of the auditors, and the governor has done it pretty well. I think that then the collection query, which I think is subsequent queries anyway, and I think that we probably taxed the county attorney too early over the issues of collateral, and others that appear in query number 7, like failure to register charges on mortgage properties, failure to insure mortgage properties and mobile vehicles. All those are subsequent ones, but I think that, Chair, for the purposes of this good documentation that has happened, we could clear this particular query. I'm very clear in my mind that one can be cleared, and in the subsequent queries is when we can be able to explore that particular aspect of recovery. So that we don't confuse the two. So on this particular query, I am satisfied that the response is adequate. So that can go to the next.
The extent of provisions and ledgers. That one.
Auditors, are we together on that?
In compliance, Chair.
So then we can proceed to the next.
The next is failure to register charges on mortgage properties and jointly.
That's when. Now that's the question that you're asking. You're ahead of ourselves.
Failure to register charges on mortgage properties and joint register logbooks on car loans to members. The statement of financial position and note 5A to the financial statement reflects long-term receivable from exchange transactions totaling to Kenya shillings 52,304,155. Review of the records revealed that the management did not have a charge registered on the financed properties as required by Regulation 20 sub B of the Public Finance Management County Executive Mortgage Members Scheme Fund Regulation 2015, which requires that mortgage institution to charge securities on properties acquired through loan from the fund to protect the interest of the fund. In addition, the logbooks of the vehicles subject to the loans were not jointly issued between the county and the members of the scheme in line with the requirement of Regulation 9, subsection 2 of the Public Finance Management County Executive Car Loan Members Scheme Fund Regulation 2014, which requires that such jointly issued logbook shall be kept in custody of the officer administering the fund until the loan is repaid in full by the members of the scheme. In the circumstance, management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Can you read that together with failure to insure mortgage property? They are related.
Chair, failure to insure mortgage properties and motor vehicles on loans. Review of the mortgage properties and loan on motor vehicle records revealed that management did not enforce mortgage insurance as required by Regulation 17, subsection 1 of the Public Finance Management County Executive Mortgage Members Scheme Fund Regulation 2015, which require a borrower to take out and maintain a mortgage protection policy and a fire policy with an insurance firm approved by the committee, the cost of which shall be paid by the borrower or out of the fund and debited in such borrower's account, and Regulation 13, subsection 1 of the Public Finance Management County Executive Car Loan Members Scheme Fund Regulation 2014, which state that a member of the scheme shall comprehensively insure any vehicle purchased through the scheme with an approved insurer by the board and shall submit evidence of the cover to the administrator. In the circumstance, management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Governor, can you provide management response for the two queries?
Thank you, Chairman, Honorable members. The management wishes to state that the implementation of the mortgage rules were not observed during the initial issuance of loans to beneficiaries. However, the current administration has halted issues of facilities without adherence to laid down rules and has outsourced this function to a professional third-party fund manager. financial institution which now manages the fund independently. Further, the Office of the County Attorney has issued new demand letters to the staff in arrears and also seeks to file cases against the officers who do not comply. Chairman, Appendix 10A, demand letters to staff in arrears. Appendix 10B, agreement with the third party. Chairman, the response to the two is similar. So maybe I just read it. The management wishes to state that the implementation of the mortgage rules were not observed during the initial issuance of loans to beneficiaries. However, the current administration has since halted issuance of facilities without adherence to the laid down rules and has outsourced this function, which now handles the fund independently in terms of recovery, insurance of cars and properties, and register of charges. Chairman, if you look at the agreement, let me just say thank you, Chairman, and then maybe I'll add something after that. If you allow me to add.
Proceed.
If you look at the agreement with the financial institution, 10B, you will see some of the terms of the agreement, including that the security will be the car law book or the title deed charged in joint names of the CCMs and the bank. So essentially, it is now run stringently by the banks, and maybe answer the earlier question of Professor Ojienda and Senator Kisang, that the agreement is that the payment is made within the period that you are in office. The charge is also made by the bank. The agreement is between you and the bank. The county just provides the money into the account, and the bank supplements, and we continue. So the county has nothing to do with you. If you don't pay, you deal with the bank.
Thank you, Chair. You have confirmed that the management has mitigated against the issue of security in the current financial year 2023-2024. However, the amounts that were due during the year in question have not been recovered to date, and the charges have not been, they have not been honored or something.
Okay. Honorable members. Senator Kisang.
Chair, if we continue discussing this particular query, we are repeating ourselves. You know, it was the same earlier query, but this particular one, we are saying there was no charge. And then the other query is they did not insure. So basically, we will be going again round in cycles, and the governor has already said she has put in measures in place to ensure going forward these things will not arise. So the issue is, how do we deal with the past?
Yes. So what is your proposal on dealing with the past?
Already the governor and the county attorney have given us, basically they have to look for the money by going to court. So long as they don't spend more than what they are pursuing through legal fees. And I believe as soon as they start their cases, some people will come forward. But maybe I need to, so that they give up.
Go and give agenda money.
Or they give agenda money, but this is too expensive. I just wanted to find out from the governor, maybe these particular employees give logbooks or title deeds to the counties, but they do not charge. Do you have the original titles, or they have the titles themselves?
Chair, in the interest of time, I think this is one of those things that is very easy to make recommendation on, even just by reading responses, even where we are seated now, because there is the goodwill by the current governor. And above the goodwill, there is already initiative taken by the current governor to put in measures, processes, systems, and in place to address the misnomer that used to happen, and they are now anomaly. Then the overarching question of how do we recover what then has been lost in the past is actually the big audacious goal here for the governor. But I'm glad that and that's why I took us forward very fast, because the attorney was responding to the action that had already been taken. I think that is what perhaps we need to have the governor furnish this committee with in the next few months. Maybe I think 60 days is practical, because there's a budgetary implication to it, which the attorney must be able to actually align to, and then the governor can feed us with that, and this will be good. But on a very light note, but not also light note, I am actually feeling very, very disappointed by the previous administration. I'm imagining the kind of governor you are. If these systems and processes were put in place before you came 10 years down the line, you would be a takeoff. Like I'm empathizing. You know, I'm really empathizing with you, because you're doing a lot of work to put these things in place, when the energy, the tenacity, and the genius that you're bringing in should be focused on a lot of delivery. I hope that you can be able to settle in very fast, so that the years that you're going to remain in office this term and hopefully the next term can be focused on delivery. I think it's going to be brilliant delivery. Chair,
Senator Eddie, ongeza volume.
Maybe it's also good to tell. Maybe it's also good to tell the governor that we have met some other governors in the past who have come to the committee, and we have advised some of them to come to your county for benchmarking.
Senator Ojenda.
Your Excellency, I want to just confirm. I'm looking at annex appendix, just to the last response, the 1G. And I can see familiar names of all my friends. Nicholas Koriko, Beatrice Akinyo Yom, who is a senator, Dr. Professor, who is my friend, Eliud, Isaiah Ogwe, Samson, and Daniel. I just want to confirm, Governor, that from all the members of the executive, the CCs, that there were full recoveries. Just confirm that, because I would be shocked if you have contrary information. Because I know the CCs, I know that they have capacity, and Ogorego will not tell me that he wants to sue Isaiah Ogwe, and that Isaiah Ogwe would have a loan. It's not possible. I just want to know that, so that let him confirm that the CCs have no outstandings, that the recoveries were full, including our own Senator Beatrice, who is a senator here with us. Just for the record.
Do you have anything personal with them?
No. I know your brother also, Muratego, is also here.
Chair, that one you must expound. The fact that somebody has got a name like mine or looks like mine doesn't mean that their nose look like my nose.
Okay, let me confirm this one first, so that
Governor, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think we have a list of everybody who took the loans. Maybe perhaps it's the list you're reading. Then the ones that are outstanding are the ones listed on page 2 of our response, the small booklet, one of our response, page 2 and page 9. And they don't seem to appear in those ones. So I would assume that they are then not in the list of the defaulters. Your good friends, Professor, are not in the default list.
Is good clients.
No, they are, because like Ogwe, you just walk in one of his hotels and check things. Thank you.
Chair, I think we should proceed with time.
So I think, honorable members, that brings us to the end of reviewing this fund. Time is not on our side. We will not even be able to read the interim recommendations, but they will be sent in writing to the governor and copied to the senator. So maybe we just do the closing remarks. If you don't have anything essential to say, you don't have to say it.
Chair, I have a very simple one.
Yeah.
And it emanates from, and I would really want the governor's attention. You know, she's one of the very strong members of the G7. And also, of course, the most performing governor, I think, in the country. This is a struggle of mine. And I think that in the DNA of this particular committee is also a struggle on the danger in devolution. And we have reviewed one of the funds here. And I've seen the act that has also established it further, the education and bursary funds. Governor, we are really struggling. We understand that, one, there is definite need for furthering bursary education, education bursaries in our counties. No doubt, there's a big need. There's also a pseudo element of it that governors also do benefit so much politically from addressing that need. But whenever we sit in this committee, and I've got the advantage of sitting also in budget and finance committee, when we want to give counties money, this really is a national function. I mean, if you think about it, in the National Assembly alone, all members get about 600 million during their term to deal with this particular problem. That's almost like 5 billion during their time. And counties jointly, we have looked at all the bursary funds in the counties. We recently looked for Nakuru. You are giving a total of 20 billion back to this national function. The need notwithstanding and the political relevance notwithstanding, is there an opportunity to have a conversation as the COG and as governors on how this issue can be dealt with? We really feel like this is money that should actually be able to go to you guys and be able to deal with other very serious functions that you have in the counties. And some of us are struggling with bringing up a law to actually block counties from doing bursaries that are not within the ECD bracket, so that you can be able to have this money help you in other things. But we are not blind to the fact that the need is really, really big. We are just up to the task that the money we are giving you is actually peanuts. If you look at like right now, the national government is proposing 391 billion to you guys. That is 13% of what is going to be raised in the ordinary budget in the coming year. So we really feel like this is a tussle for us. We're struggling with it, but you can make a comment on it, how we can advise whether it's a conversation that you can be able to start within the G8 and other members of the COG. Thank you, Chair. But otherwise, this is brilliant. We are very proud of the work you've done. And I thank you for always honoring this committee with not just presence, but also substance when you come here. Thank you.
Yeah, members, be very brief. Senator Mida. Very brief.
Chair, you know, I realize whenever I want to say something, mpaka umerudisha mambo yote ile nataka kuongea. Chair, no, mine, Excellency, is just to commend you. I've realized you're able to tackle previous issues that you didn't handle in a more mature and sober way. In fact, by recovering, your recovering mechanism I'm really commending it through recovery outstanding liabilities, because others who have appeared before us have no idea, and they have said, we are not protecting those people. It wasn't us, but then you need to get them, you know. But then at least you have given us a way, and true, I think we need to send more governors to your county for benchmarking, because this is seriously, it's a job well done. Chair, allow me to say that, because without even mincing my words, Governor, you're doing a good job. Asante.
Chair, my comment is outside the audit. Mine is just to ask the governor and the Homa Bay team to protect the girl child. I watched in the news yesterday that the children in the camps are being defiled. Yeah, so that is something that maybe you need to do with the county commissioner to ensure that our girls are safe. Yeah.
Okay. Senator Agenda.
Just 2 words. Thank you.
Governor, your comments, final comments.
Thank you, Chair, and really a big thank you to the honourable members for your great insights, because it helps us to also prepare, but also for the very kind words. And we hope not to let you down and to strengthen the systems and structures to ensure that the money that the Senate fights so hard to bring to the counties is utilized for the purposes, and there's value for money. And to thank the Senate, to thank you, committee and the Senate, for fighting to give more money to the counties. It is not something we take for granted. We take it with great appreciation. We know that there is a bigger war ahead in the mediation, but we do hope that it will prevail. On the question, or the matter raised by Senator Eddy on bursaries, I couldn't agree with you more. We are very pressed for resources, even just within the education sector, to just do ECD, for example, only. And therefore, we are in a catch-22. Why? Because if you don't have a bursary system, because of the status of our people, you will pay that money through your nose, or you will run away from home completely. The MCAs will run away from home. We will hide and never to be seen. Because when children are going back to school, like now in the next couple of months, I'm telling you, because we live at home, essentially. Your home, your office, everywhere. You walk in and you find a small child, I have 418 marks. I don't know how to go to school. And therefore, it is something we live with on a day-to-day basis. But I couldn't agree with you more as far as the priorities for devolved functions. And this is ECD classrooms and infrastructure. This is VTCs. I mean, look at the VTCs and their condition and status. We could spend money on those ones. But even if we tried to, there'd probably not be enough for all those. So what we'd like to is just to say, can funds follow functions? You know, if you devolve ECD, just calculate how much it costs and bring the money to the counties so that we can be able to give our children decent education. In fact, if the real funds followed the functions, we would not be discussing bursaries. It would be a very small amount of the bigger budget. But we discuss it because the cake is too small. So thank you so much, Chairman. And I really would like to thank the committee for having us. Also, Chairman, for your indulgence, because I think one time or two times before, I was not able to come before the committee on the designated date, but you gave me another one, and we as the Homa Bay team don't take it for granted. Asanteni sana, and thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you for coming before this committee. First of all, members, I want to register an apology by the Senator of Homa Bay, Moses Kajwang. As you know, he's chairing the PAC committee. But he said we give his apology, and Senator Ojenda will be holding brief.
I'll be here. Agenda comes from the kilometers away.
Because Ojenda is on his way back. So, thank you. So thank you for coming. We have noted as a committee a number of challenges with the bursary fund and the car and mortgage loan fund. And most of the issues, as you rightly put, there was no such a committee to handle these issues. Maybe they would not have recurred if this committee was there, but we are trying to deal with the issues, and we hope that funds are going to be better managed in the coming years because of our intervention. This committee, we are actually at the tail end of our consideration of funds. You know that we started with water companies. Now we are on funds, and later in the months of June, we are commencing the hospital, level 4 and level 5 hospitals in our counties. And then we go back to the water sector for the current reports. So when you appear here, you will not be talking about the previous government. You'll be talking about your own government. And that's what we want to achieve, so that by the end of 5 years, we clear all the reports. then any other governor coming in, he will be dealing with his current reports. So that's the position we are taking as a committee. Otherwise, thank you for coming. We look forward to the actions you are going to take, particularly on the car and mortgage loan fund, which we consider to be very critical in terms of recoveries. We actually acknowledge the action you have taken to ensure that the management of the fund is now contracted to a professional to run. I think that's the same thing we expect other counties which have similar problems to undertake, so that that facility is very important for your staff, but at the same time it is also important to protect public funds. So thank you very much for coming. We look forward to you appearing again in near future on matters of the hospital audited report for, I think, 2020, 2021 to the current one. Thank you very much, honorable members. The meeting is adjourned.